to GDP is more than 100%. It means if you take all Ghana's GDP and you turn it into money, you use it to pay all our debts and you still owe 3%. Our debt to GDP was 57%. And the optimum GDP for middle income countries that is recommended by the IMF is 60%. So we're even under the recommended debt to GDP. When we left office, the budget deficit was 6.6%. Today, the budget deficit, it even went to 15%. It has now started dropping.
Addo former President John Dramani Mahama man in snugu gem se Ghana for to me yenimu and ye why na kuma ho ne ye hwe de we a moja enyu na kuma tam na enka yanka se bi say yes enya asem keto eni obi asem osesem wo ministry to say poa anko besu amane man Ghana former President John Dramani Mahama ne nsem kan ye no sa na ye de betoto Addo ewo dwaba se na former President John Dramani Mahama chire mu se ye ka se amamu obi amamu bone party bi ediga na boro ediga na nya de omunsa mienu atase ne emegu ngafunum ye ka se party bi pa abo aboro a ma chese akoka idom pekinken na chese the NPP led by Nana Akufo Addo and his excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia isan say on one kasa ode no ho as a former president onhu bi da emfa na ni asa da ensusu ho da na campus epie na komam se eniye pa ne proye ketasehye ye ni guso frenchim kra na ebu eni emeguso ye twanua ni etwan haban ne de guso ni akata so ade bi ho no ma e was a reaction etimi take place kra mpo na ayi ni ebu ya ketem na NPP for de o flag blue and white ne ready e de amantam so na tese nya gro onu a wo hye amemu obebu yam eni Ghana oja ne ho ama NPP for ebe fire 2016 no a no jina ho pa no hye Ghana NPP for eja wo se ne ye se omuja de ho se ne omo san be pre so omo baba ebe hwe so na utimu se na chese eye mobo emu odwerem nso yie baba pa eti ye po bi pa me ne ka se party we de enye party e wo se gu no kra na Ghana fo nyom fa ho dia nke wo se timi ye NPP eviti se NPP babetna so 8 years yimuno Addo emoye din pa ono John Dramani Mahama wan na nwene ensusu da se Ghana ebetimi edo sam pempensui empompo so Ghana edu yidie na chese Addo o kire mu se no kure se wo se party bi ye yisi nchen ne yi won din every Ghana political station mu a wo se etimi NPP esanse ade papa bi eni ho a wo mu ebetimi ede aboa Ghana okwaso kan bi o se NPP etimi keka nsem asorto enema ede wu so bra wo nyina wo pre back in 2016 2015 na nukremu na chese ya dia na chese asem a mo ankasa omo beba abeye enema mba abeye na chese omo kegu omo so no no John Dramani Mahama de onim se party bi ho kora wo a wo se yesan eto abama no te se NPP if it's NPP abroad won abedibi enye party a wo se nipa ekosan ekoto aba ede ma won Addo in some way and in some be John Dramani Mahama edituja former president in Kotima.
Today the debt to GDP is more than 100%. It means if you take all Ghana's GDP and you turn it into money, you use it to pay all our debts and you still owe 3%. Our debt to GDP was 57%. And the optimum GDP for middle income countries that is recommended by the IMF is 60%. So we're even under the recommended debt to GDP. When we left office, the budget deficit was 6.6%. Today, the budget deficit, it even went to 15%. It has now started dropping. When we left office, inflation was 15.5%. Inflation under this government went to 54% and is only now dropping. It's about 30%. When we left office, cocoa production was 960,000 metric tons. And we went for syndication loan of $1.8 billion, brought $1.8 billion into this country. Today, cocoa production is under 500,000 tons. And when they went for syndication, they got only $800 million. At 8%, we got 1.8 billion at 2%. And so what are you talking about? You can't compare the economy under us. When we left office, we gave you 2 new oil fields. All the work that we did as NDC was with one oil field, the Jubilee field. We worked and brought the 10th field and the Sankofa field into production. And so it made oil revenues triple. When we left office, we had solved Dumso. We bought enough generation. We established ESLA to pay the legacy debt. Today, Dumso is back. You can't pay the independent producers. And all of you know Dumso is back, just that they don't want to announce a timetable. Yesterday when I came to Tamale, the lights were off the whole day. And so, this thing they keep saying, Mahama left a mess, we came and repaired your mess. Before I left office, the IMF said that Ghana's economy was going to grow by 8%. And it grew by 8% and more in 2017. And in 2018, it dropped. When their own policies started kicking in, you look at the GDP growth rate. From the high of 8% that they inherited from me, the next year it went to 6 point something, 5 point something, until when COVID hit, it went to 0. So that myth about you left us a mess, you left us a mess. When you came into office, the Akufo Eurobond was left with 270 million to pay. Where did you get that money to pay? Mahama left it in the sinking fund because I knew that debt was coming up. That was visionary because I knew that if a new government came, it was going to be difficult to find 270 million at once to pay off the Akufo Eurobond. So we left it in the sinking fund. They came and met it. In October, they just took it and paid the Eurobond. And after that, they didn't put any money in the sinking fund again. That's why when COVID hit, we had no money to defend ourselves. I set up the stabilization fund. When COVID hit, they didn't know where to find money. We told them, go and look in the stabilization fund. I left money in there. Went and took 300 million, from the stabilization fund. I set up the Ghana Investment Infrastructure Fund, the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. And I put $270 million seed money in that fund. Today, that's what you are using to build your Agenda 111 hospitals. So how can I have left you a mess? They are good at propaganda. And so they just keep repeating something. Oh, we came and met your mess. We came and met your mess. In 2016, for the first time in Ghana's history, we ran the government budget without taking 1 CD from the Bank of Ghana. 0 borrowing from Central Bank. You in 2021, 42 billion, you made Central Bank print for you. The following year, 2022, 35 billion, you made Central Bank print for you. And that is why today, Central Bank is broke. Because it made a loss of more than 60 billion cedis. When I was president, Central Bank made a profit of more than 1 billion cedis. And so that propaganda must stop once and for all. You didn't inherit a mess. You inherited an economy that was doing well. It is you, by your mismanagement, your clueless finance minister, and your clueless head of economic management team, who now wants to run away from economic issues to become